Hi. It's Tina from CNC Designs. Welcome, and happy Friday, everyone. I'm just going to do some housekeeping and try and find us up on the page. As you come in, please stop and say hello so that I can say hello back to you. If you see that red live button above my head, that means you have caught me live. If you do not see the button, that means you're catching me on replay. In either case, please stop and say hi so I can say hi back. And we're gonna begin doing our Christmas crafting tonight. So I'm excited. This is one of my favorite times of year. And I am excited with all the beautiful stencils that Magnolia has come out with. I can't wait to craft with them. We will be using one tonight. Let me just see if I can pull up comments. And then we can get started. We should be broadcasting live tonight from 2 pages, from here as well as in the Crafting Network. Hello, Miss Patterson. How are you, my friend? So let me just get situated over here. And tonight we are going to be crafting with one of my favorite Magnolia surfaces that is actually going to be expiring, but I have managed to gain a few of them, which is this huge serving tray. I'm going to be making something for my home for Christmas this season, and we're going to be using this amazing Noel stencil from Magnolia. It is absolutely awesome, so I want to be able to do this tray, and then I'm thinking that probably we will also create a a door hanger for it. So, hi Tina, how are you? We're going to first clean our surface. I want to dry brush this surface, and I'm going to be using some plaster by Waverly, and then we're going to be using, I believe this is Army Green, yes, as our paste for our stencil. I know some time back in July when we were doing Christmas in July, I announced that I was going to be doing purple for Christmas this year because my son wanted purple. Well, it seems my children have changed their mind and they want to go with more of the traditional Christmas colors this year, to my surprise. So we are going to be decorating our tree in this pretty tartan pattern, which has like all of the traditional Christmas colors, which I'm excited about because I really don't have to buy much. I am going to be making some things. So, and you guys know me, I love to make things for my tree. So this will give me an opportunity to play with those patterns. And Magnolia has an awesome tartan pattern that we can pull into this. So I'm excited to be able to do this. And I hope you guys will join me on the journey to see what we create for our tree this year. So we're just gonna be, like I said, I'm gonna do some dry brushing here on this tray. I don't want a complete coverage, but I do want to incorporate some of this white in there because in that tartan pattern are some whites and some greens and some blues. And I see that my paint is quite thick, so I'm probably gonna have to add some water in order to move it around on the board the way that I want. I don't know how many of you have seen, like, it's a big thing now with these trees that are decorated in these tartan patterns that kind of reminiscent of the Ralph Lauren colors. My daughter saw it and showed it to my son, and now that's what we are going to try to attempt to do this year for Christmas. This is coming along really thick, so I am going to be spraying some water on here to try and move some of that paint around a little more. Because like I said, I don't want a completely full coverage. I'll probably even be taking some of my wipes and wiping some of this back. It might be my brush as well. Let me see what other kind of brush we have here. that we might be able to move it around even more. I've definitely got quite a bit over here in this corner. I think I'm gonna see if we can wipe some of that back. So how's everybody's week going? Do I change my tree every year? Not really. We do different colors. I have a obscene amount of Christmas ornaments. So we kind of like, you know, play with the colors and come up with different color patterns each year. Last year, my son decided that we should do purple this year, and I really thought that that's the direction we were going in, but it's changed. And luckily, what they did decide they wanted to do, we have a lot of those color ornaments because they're the, you know, traditional, the reds, the blues, the greens, and a little bit of yellows and whites. I do have a lot of those ornaments in, but not necessarily with the tartan pattern. So I'm going to be making some of those tartan pattern type ornaments, which I'm excited about. But yeah, I definitely don't have the same tree every year because, I don't know, we're like big Christmas people here in this house, probably more than most. If you come to my house around Christmas season, it's like Christmas literally threw up in my house. Hi, Carol T. How are you? Hello, Miss Mays. How are you? So, like I said, I'm just trying to give this a little bit of some dry brush. And we're going to use this amazing magnolia stencil on here. Hopefully, we can get some of our stamp pads in here, some of our Tim Holtz stamp pads. I believe I have a green color that might blend in well with this. And I'm really trying to keep this in a color tone and a color wave that I can be able to use beyond just the tartan Christmas. So that's why I'm going with the green, because I figure next year we might be able to pull it back out again, depending on what color we choose. I'm making a mess already. So that's where we are here, over here on this side of town. How about you guys? Anybody do different colors each year for Christmas, or do you kind of stick with the same ornaments and just kind of like just move them around, maybe place them differently? My mom also was a big Christmas person, and I think I got a lot of that from her. So I'm always looking for something different to do for our Christmas decor each year. Hi, Cheryl Ward. How are you, sister dear? So we just have a little whitewash on the board. And I want to try and see if I can get some dry on this, because I want this stencil to lay really nicely. This is an absolutely gorgeous stencil. If you guys have not checked out our Magnolia site to see what we have in so far, you are missing out big time. We have a lot of items that are going to be discontinued, so they are discounted at 50% off. So you might want to check that. They include stencils, surfaces, frames, all kinds of stuff, even paste. So now is a good time to stock up if you're someone who uses the product, and if you're someone who's been thinking about the product, it would be a good time to do that. You keep making more ornaments. Yeah, a rustic tree is really, I did that maybe about, I think 2 or 3 Christmases ago. That was one of my favorites. And I really, really want to do it again, but I'm just trying to appease my children before I say we're going to do that again. I really, really love the way that came out. It was like more, mine was more like overall rustic. We had like a lot of overall ornaments that I made, and ones that looked a little bit more farmhouse chic. I want to make sure I got my volume turned up so you guys can hear me. Yeah, I love making ornaments, especially since I've gotten back into crafting, because it's just, it gives you an opportunity to really use the colors that you really want and not have to settle on what the store has. So that's what I really like about making them. You can, you know, I go often to Home Depot or places like that and have them match colors that I'm looking for. So I really, really love the opportunity to be able to do that. Just want to make sure this is dry because I want the stencil to come out really, really well. This is our stencil. It is one of our newer ones from Magnolia. And we're gonna place this on this tray. And I'm hoping to use, I have an IOD mold that I bought this year that has some pine cones in it. And I'm hoping to be able to maybe cast a few pine cones just to go here on the sides of it. And hopefully what I have in mind will translate onto the piece and you will enjoy it as much as I. When do you guys put up your trees? Do you have like a standard time when you put up your Christmas tree? In my house, our tree goes up every year the day after Thanksgiving. Primarily because, especially because my son is in school, so he's home during that time, and we have a tradition, my two kids and I, we put up the tree together every year. So in order to keep that tradition, we definitely make sure we do it the day after Thanksgiving because we know that my son will be home. So I'm kind of definitely in a rush to try and get all these things done so that when the tree goes up, I'm still not making ornaments at that time. So this is gonna be fun. So let's get out our fuzz cloth here and get the stencil out. This is a new stencil, so we definitely need to fuzz it a little bit. You live on a farm. Oh my goodness, I wish I could find some rusty wire and some, how you call those, finials and things like that. I really, really would like to have a Christmas that incorporates that kind of stuff. Where do you live, Lorianne? This is a pretty big stencil, so I definitely want to make sure the areas that I know we want down are fuzzed good so that we don't have any fuzzy lettering. And this same stencil, I'm definitely going to make me a door hanger to go on my door this season with that. And definitely I want to share with you how you can use the same stencil and have two different looks. Because when I do the door hanger, I probably will not be using these same colors. But it'll show you the value in the stencil. Oh, you live in Iowa. Okay. I am a New Yorker, but I feel like I'm probably a person who should have been born in the South because I just like the calm relaxation of certain parts of the South. I have family in North Carolina. I love the little town that my family lives in. My children can't stand it because they don't like the fact that the internet is not as prevalent as it is in the city. There's just something to be said about that peace that comes from living in places other than the city. I guess probably when I was their age, I probably felt the same way. But now that I'm older, it's like I crave it. Hello, Miss Fanning. How are you, friend? I'm just trying to get this straight. Because once it's on this tray, It's not going to be cool if it's crooked. So let's try it. It's going to take us a little bit of time because I want to make sure that it's not slanted. You would think because the surface is so big that this would be easy, but it's really easy to get it off. So it's worth taking the time to try and make sure that it's straight. Okay, I definitely see that that needs to come over a little more. Thank you. Yeah, it is. It is a gorgeous stencil. I love it. And you guys know, Magnolia has an affiliate program now. You can become an affiliate in Magnolia, and it really doesn't cost you anything. But as an affiliate, you get a site, and if anyone comes and purchases from your site, you gain a percentage of those sales. So that's kind of how it is going to look. Put your tree up after Thanksgiving. Yeah, we usually have family over for Thanksgiving as well. I really would love to have my tree up at the time that, you know, family comes over for Thanksgiving. But again, because my son is not here, that's not something that my daughter and I consider. Because we really like the tradition of the three of us just kind of like hanging out that day and putting up the tree and just, you know, getting in the spirit together. Hi, Nee, how are you? Guys, if you haven't been to Crafting with Nee's page, definitely check her out. She is a fantastic creator. I love, love, love some of the things that she does. So definitely check her out if you aren't following her. Okay, so as I stated, we're going to be using this army green. Just because, again, I'm trying to use a color that hopefully will enable me to use this tray again next year. I live in a city apartment and I can't keep making big items like this for one-time uses. I've got to be able to get multiple uses out of them. So I'm trying to stick within my tartan colors, but use one that is going to be a little bit more flexible. So no matter what color I use next year, this probably can also be something that I can blend in with it. Last year, if you were with me around Christmas time, I used the Magnolia Trees stencil on a tray like this that we did for a gift for a friend of ours, and it was absolutely gorgeous. We did it in black, and it was for a male friend of ours that lives in my children's grandmother's building, and I spoke to him the other day, and he was telling me that he never took the tray off the table. It sat out on his table the whole year. He's like, it is so beautiful. And it really, really was gorgeous. So I'm hoping that this comes out just as good. And because we're using like these traditional colors, I really want to do some traditional things this Christmas. One of the things I want to do is actually mail some Christmas cards. So I've actually started making some cards already, and I'll definitely give you guys a peek at my cards. And one of the things that I thought of doing is I would like to have 5 of my friends who watch the page, who are interested in a card exchange with me, let me know. And I'm only choosing 5 quite honestly because the cards are kind of intense, and I'll show you all that goes into them and how they look when they're done. So if you're interested, definitely drop a note in the comments, because I would love to send you one of our handmade cards from 2025. You don't have to send me a handmade card back. But if you're a crafter, I would like that. That would be awesome. So let me clean that. I'm running out of wipes. I've been working. Typically on my job, I usually work from home on Mondays and Fridays, but for the past couple of weeks, I have not been working from home, so I haven't had a time to do a lot of things, one of which is do some shopping and replenish some items I need here in the house. And it's just been busy, 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 nonstop. And I really, really need my work from home days back, because that's my happy space. I get to kind of, even though I'm working, it's not as intense as when I am in the office. So let's see what we have here. I think I missed a little bit on my pine cone. So let me, before we pull it all the way up, let's do a little bit more here. Can't get this edge up. Let's see. A little bit more. I see another space here. This stencil is so pretty. I really want to make sure I get every bit of it onto this surface. Let's do a little bit more now. Oh. Yeah, I think it'll be fun too, Miss Fanny. Okay. That is nice. Where's my water? Okay. Let me just put some of this down. I can lay the stencil face down in the water so it can try and release some of the paste. Hi Kim, how are you? So guys, look at what we have so far. That is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. Oh, great, Deb. I will definitely reach out to anybody who says they want to participate. I'll message you and we can exchange addresses. I'm going to definitely try and have my cards out by the 10th of December, just because I know if I don't do it before then, or if I don't set a date, time will get away from us, because I can't believe we're already in, well, might as well say November at this point. This year has flown by so fast. Thank you, Kim. It is gorgeous. It is beautiful. I love it. I definitely want to try and put a little bit of gold splatters here. Possibly, definitely edge it. No, my kids don't. My son actually is a pretty good artist. He can really draw. My daughter, she doesn't like it. She likes the things I create. She'll come and shop and take whatever I make and put it in her room, but she doesn't want to do any of this. Oddly enough, though, they both have said, you know, because I do so much crafting for all times of year, and they're already discussing, you know, who's going to get the Christmas ornaments from the house. And they're like, I want this color, make sure you take that color. They're funny. My mom was definitely a person who was very creative like this, so I know that I definitely picked that up from her. Hi Elaine, how are you? Yeah, this stencil is gorgeous. That's one of the things that I really, really like about Magnolia, is their work in their stencils. It's just it's bar none. Like, it's so detailed. I just love it. And this is, you know, just really basic. You could have, you know, we could have done the Noel in green. We could have done all these, the pine cones. We could have, you know, colored in. We could have done the berries in red. I just chose to leave it like this because, again, I'm trying to work back to my tartan pattern. My Christmas colors have changed and we're doing tartan now, so I'm trying to work back into something that's gonna work with this. Oh yeah, my daughter had, well, both my children still live with me, and funny enough though, my daughter has a tree that she puts up in her room every year. I think it's 6 feet. My son and I, we have Christmas trees in our room as well, but we have the little, it's a tabletop one. It's probably like maybe 3.5, maybe 4 feet. But my daughter puts one definitely in her room, and she's already talking about, you know, all the ornaments you make, we have to make double the amount because this year I want the same colors in my room that we're using on the main tree. Thank you, Miss Fanny. Yeah, it would be gorgeous. I thought about painting the whole tray green and doing the stencil in gold, but I felt, again, like I might be limiting myself because I don't know how that would work in years to come. So I'm trying to do something that I'm gonna at least get 2 Christmases out of before I get tired of it. And I'm definitely going to spray seal this to keep the integrity of the stencil there. I think we might be dry enough to move on to some next steps. But this is really, really gorgeous. I could definitely see these pine cones colored in, and you know, maybe do these berries and some reds, and even coloring in those leaves. It would just be absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I think it would be as well. But I definitely would paint the tray entirely in like a solid, like I said, a green I think would look really nice with the stencil in gold. I think the door hanger that I want to do with this stencil, I think I'm going to do that. I think it's going to be a solid green with gold lettering for the door hanger with the tartan ribbon. So this is the ribbon that we'll be using for the tree this year. So I think it's all going to tie in really, really nicely. Let me see where I know I bought my stamp pads. Oh, here they are. Let's see if we can find a green in here that is close to this color. That might work. I have a really giant green one. I don't think that's too big. And I think I have this, looks like it's an even darker maybe. Let's try it. I got that ribbon from Craft Outlet online, craftoutlet.com. So I'm just running this around the edge of it just to give it some more color and help that green to really stand out in the stencil. Hope you can see this. Yeah, I had to hurry up and buy it because it seems that that pattern or this tartan is really a popular pattern for this Christmas. So definitely, if it's something you're thinking about you might want, get on Craft Outlet and get it now because they will sell out, and then you'll have to wait and see if it comes back in before the season is done. I'm going to try and see how we can go in here. here is our tray all edged up. We have it here. I think I probably should go back here as well. And I probably will use this. I'll probably sit it on my table with maybe a vase full of some fresh Christmas greens. I think will look really nice. I don't like these handles. I really, I think I'm gonna look to see if I can find like some cabinet handles, but they have to be pretty big because it's really far. I could probably spackle those holes and just add some real hardware on it. I think it would really elevate it. So I think probably tomorrow if I go out, I'll look for some hardware like in a Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that for this tray. Because I don't want these. I think the stencil is too elegant for these wood handles. What do you guys think? It's definitely a substantial piece. I thought about putting some feet on it, but I think I'm gonna leave it flat. I don't think I'm gonna add any feet. Do you see that? Yeah, okay. So you guys know me, you know I love my splatters, so I'm definitely thinking I'm probably gonna add some gold splatters here, but I wanna see if I can cast some of these pine cones from our mold. So I have this IOD mold and it has some greenery in it. It has this pine cone here, and then we have a fatter one here. I think I wanna use the slim one because my thought is to try and cast at least 2 pine cones to go on one side of the tray. I don't think I want them on both sides. I think it's gonna be too much. So let's see what that looks like with my cornstarch. So we're gonna just sprinkle a little cornstarch into this mold and use some of our air dry clay. I like to put on gloves because this clay gets all under my fingernails and everywhere when I use it. Let me just find something to put down some cornstarch. This is, this mold just came out in the IOD 2025 release. I believe it is a limited edition. IOD molds sell out really quick, and if you see one you like, get it, because once it becomes, once it gets sold out, the people who have them, they sell them for just crazy amounts of money. There's one that came out a couple of Christmases ago. It had pine cones in it as well. I really, really want that mold, but I can only find it on places like eBay, and they're selling it for as much as like $300 now. And this is a mold that when IOD released it was probably like $28 maybe. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. The molds, and especially IOD's molds, they are absolutely gorgeous. They also came out with another one this year. It's a snow globe mold, so I'm definitely gonna try and make some ornaments using that. And then they have another one that came out. It's called Bibelots, and that is just all ornaments. So we'll be definitely using some of those and casting and using some tartan printables. So you just want to try and get the clay really malleable in your hands, warm it up. I'm definitely not an expert in it, but the few times that I have used my molds, and I have a lot of them, it has really come out nice. So I'm just kind of working it into the mold. And the cool thing about IOD's molds is they have these rims on them, so you can kind of feel where the edge is, so you don't waste clay and you don't underfill either that way. And I just kind of just work it off, removing excess. And if you feel like you've removed too much, you can just go back. That's one of the reasons why I like to work with the clay. A lot of people use IOD molds and they use resin. I love the look of resin, but honestly, I'm afraid of resin because, you know, I'm just afraid of the toxicity. And, you know, being in an apartment and using things like that, I don't have that open air space. So I definitely have not ventured out to resin, even though I would love to be able to do it, especially the clear resin. But I just don't think it's worth my health. Hello, Robin. How are you? Thank you for watching. And the other thing that I like about clay is when you have like these little bits, you can take another piece of clay and kind of tap and pick up the pieces. So it kind of helps you to clean it off a lot easier. The only drawback that I found to clay is that it does take longer to dry than something like your resins do. But and the other thing is that you could suffer some cracking, but there's an easy fix for that. I found that after I pull my molds from the cast, the clay from the casting, if I paint them relatively soon after pulling them, I really don't suffer with a lot of cracks. I have here, somewhere in here, a roller that I like to use from time to time, just to make sure that my clay is flat. I did have a scraper. Guys, when I tell you the mess. Okay, so let's see. That just kind of helps flatten it out even more, because you want your back to be, you know, flat, so that when you apply it to your piece, it's not raised and all wobbly. And this helps to get out the excess clay that might be there, because it just kind of pushes it all out. So I think we have a pretty good, I'm just going to take this piece of wax paper and release it onto it. And I just like to kind of roll my piece out of the mold by just kind of lifting it up and letting it fall back on its own. You decrease the risk of it breaking when you do that. So that's our pine cone. You use Model Magic foam clay. Model Magic. I don't know that I've seen that. So I want to try and cast one more. I am going to put a little bit more cornstarch in here because I don't want the clay to stick in the mold and then I have to fight with it to try to get it out. Some people use oil to kind of coat the mold. I've never tried that. The cornstarch has worked for me. IOD's has a page on Facebook. If you look at their page, I mean, some of the stuff that people do with these molds is over the top fabulous. I haven't quite gotten there yet. That is definitely my goal. To be able to make pieces as awesome as I've seen some of the other creators who use these products come up with. Let's just kind of get some of that excess off. They have a Christmas tree mold that came out, I think maybe 2 Christmases ago now that I have, and I haven't used that yet. I definitely plan on using that this season. Crayola makes it. So when you say it's not as hard, is it more flexible, Kim? And IOD molds are definitely an investment. I can tell you that I have seen, especially in, you know, places like Temu, they're definitely knockoffs, but, and I have used some of those knockoff molds or molds, they're nothing like IODs. So if you're thinking it's the same, it's really not. It's harder to work with, not easy to get them out of the molds at all, and they definitely do not have the definition that IOD molds have. Okay. Let me just show you the rim that I was talking about. When I said each of the molds have a rim, you can see right around here, around the edges, that rim is raised, so when you're putting your clay in there, you can actually feel where the edge is. And I'm just, again, just making sure that it's flat, because I do want to put this onto my tray, and I don't want it to be wobbly. And this is Goss clay. It keeps pretty good. I find that when I put it into a Ziploc bag like this, and kind of take as much of the air out of the bag as I can before I seal it, it lasts and it doesn't get hard on me. I gotta check that out. I gotta look for that, Kim. Okay, so we've got our 2 castings. So what I'm gonna do right now, really quickly, is I'm just gonna go in with some of my plaster and apply that, because that's gonna help minimize my cracking. I am impatient, so I usually use my dryer and speed up the drying time. Otherwise, this probably would have to sit overnight to set, and I really don't want to wait that long. So I'm definitely going to apply some paint onto here just to help minimize the cracking. And the reason why I'm using this stippling brush and kind of stippling rather than actually painting it is because you don't want to brush away your detail. The other thing you could use is also like one of those sponge daubers to help you get your paint on. And because I'm likely going to probably apply some rub and buff or some sort of gold onto this, I'm not really concerned about getting complete coverage. I will be adding a little bit of green in here as well. So I'm not trying to paint this in this plaster. I'm just doing this, 1, to minimize the cracking, and 2, because whatever color we use, I won't have to worry about maybe some of that grayish tint of the clay showing. I like to base coat almost everything with the plaster just because it gives you a good base to work from. The plaster color does. And again, you really don't want to brush away your detail. And because this clay is not set yet, you can definitely do that when you are painting, when it's still fresh out of the mold. I just want to go around on the sides and get some of those sides covered with some of this plaster color. Okay. So let's see what we can do here to try and speed this up just a little bit. What colors are you guys using for your Christmas tree this year? As you know, mine has changed already. Hopefully, this is not a hopeful. This is it. This is the final. I'm not entertaining any other color choices. We're too close to Christmas. But I am pretty pleased with the fact that they chose the tartan, because normally I would buy like throw pillows to match, and you know, these are traditional Christmas colors. So I have most of that stuff already, which I'm excited about. So I don't have to do too much buying. I don't want to get too close to it because the heat may also produce some cracking. Even though this is a pine cone, so with this mold, if you do have slight cracking, it won't be too bad. Oh, you might be going away this year? I will probably be going away after Christmas. My brother is born on New Year's Eve, so I really want to try and go and spend his birthday with him this year. But I never am away from home for Christmas. My children's grandmother is elderly, and as well as her sister, so we try to always make sure we're here for Christmas to spend it with them. Okay, so these are coming out pretty nice. I hope you guys can see that. You probably can see it better down here than me trying to hold it up. Oh, my wax paper sticking to my... So I have this green, and I do want to stipple a little bit of that on. Again, not necessarily full coverage, but just kind of hitting those high points to bring out some of that detail. I'm looking for a soft brush to be able to do that with. Maybe this might work. Let's see. Yeah, that's nice. That's coming out nicely. I want to go around those sides. I might take a little bit of wax and blend in there as well. But you see how just brushing that green across is really bringing out that detail in those pine cones. Just gonna go around here on these sides a little. I don't want full coverage, but I don't want it to look like clay either. Oh, your birthday's New Year's Eve too, Carol? Awesome. Yeah, when we were younger, all the kids used to come hang out in my mom's house for New Year's because it was my brother's birthday, and the adults would like be in each other's houses or in the apartment downstairs. Maybe one of the neighbors had, you know, something going on with the adults there. It was a lot of fun growing up as a kid for me. So let me try and get you to see what that kind of looks like. I don't want to put this onto my piece until I am pretty satisfied with how it's looking, because I don't want to have to be painting while it's on the tray and then run into getting some paint onto my tray. Thank you for those hearts. Let me see. I don't have my Waverly wax. I'm wondering if I can brush a little bit of it on this wax with this brush. How that will work. No, it's not. Yeah, everybody, that's true. Everybody parties on your birthday. Just gonna try and put a little bit of that on here and bring some of that gold in as well. I don't want too much, but you know, I don't want it to be stark green either, so. And that's definitely giving it a little bit more of a realistic look. I'm wondering if you guys can see that. It's definitely starting to look a little bit more realistic in there, which is good. I'm seeing a little bit too much white here. So I'm just gonna go back in and dab some of this paint in those areas. Again, I don't want to ruin my detail in my mold. So I'm just dabbing really lightly, trying to cover up a little bit more of that white. And then we'll probably have to go back in and add some more wax, but that's okay. That's par for the course. Thank you, Miss Fanny. And you know me, I am definitely concerned about my edges, so I may have to lift this up a little bit just to kind of go around there. Because I don't want to see clay. Okay, that's definitely better. You gotta be really gentle with these because the detail and these little pieces on the, especially on the ends of the pine cones, it's really fragile, so you don't want to break any of that off because that really is what sets the whole thing in motion and gives it that realistic pine cone look. So let's put a little bit more heat on here. I'm gonna go back in with some wax again. I've lived in New York all my life. New York born and raised. And honestly, I'm ready to move. Work is what keeps me here now, and my children's grandmom and her sister keep me here. But I love New York, but I'm at that point in my life where I'm ready to be in a little bit more of a slower pace. But I'll tell you, there is no place in this world that gets ready for Christmas like New York does. And if you've never come to New York for Christmas, put it on your bucket list. Gotta do it. I mean, it's just amazing the way this town gets ready for Christmas. And even with all the hustle and bustle in New York, Christmas season seems to bring out the best in everyone, even the New Yorkers. And that's, you know, there's some sayings about New Yorkers and how we are not necessarily the friendliest people. But there's something about Christmas that kind of just puts everybody at ease, and people are a little bit more kind, a little bit more caring. At least I find that to be the case about New York around Christmas. Okay, so let's see now. Let's see if we can add some more of this wax. Just kind of brushing and running over the top, hitting those high points. And I'm thinking I want to try, maybe I will try Rub and Buff. Normally I take my gold paint and run it across. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. I'm just gonna rub a little bit around those edges. I love Rub and Buff, but Rub and Buff has a really strong smell to it. I just want to hit those details. So let's see, can you guys see this? It really is not translating well on the camera at all. It is really gorgeous, guys. It looks pretty gaudy in that camera to me, but it's gorgeous. You live in Pennsylvania? My son, it goes to Moravian University in PA. Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely a one-of-a-kind place for sure. So now let's bring our tray back. Let's turn on our glue gun while we look at placement. I don't want these pine cones to overpower the tray, but I definitely was thinking about possibly having them maybe on one side or having one on each side. Let's put that away. So I was thinking maybe something like that and that. Or we could do maybe one up and one down. It definitely are a little bit wider than my ledge. So that's another reason why I definitely want to have the overhang probably come in more than out, because I don't want it to break off. And I definitely don't want to. I don't like them up there. I definitely do want them somehow on these handles. And I'm thinking probably something like this, one on each side. Wow, you guys really cannot see this, can you? One up and one down, maybe. And then I can, once I get it placed, I can then think about doing some more detailing to it. The other thing is we could kind of bring some down here, make like a 3D effect. I don't really want to do that because I'm thinking I do want to use this. I do want this surface to be used because, like I said, I think I'm going to put like maybe a vase with some greenery in onto it, and I don't want the pine cones, the clay pine cones, to be in the way. So I think probably something like this is best. Definitely see I'm gonna edge up those pine cones a little bit more. I definitely don't like them both. Probably one up and one down is best. And I'm gonna put these down with some Tite Bond and some hot glue for that temporary hold, and then the with the hot glue and the Tite Bond will permanently seal it down. I'm definitely gonna get more on the side that, because some of it is going to be a little bit of an overhang, but I want that side that's not the overhang to really be secure. You guys saw that? I didn't even put any hot glue on that, right? And I just said I was going to use both. You could kind of bring your pine cone down a little bit onto the sides. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm just gonna let that sit out. I like it better that way. Hello, Angela, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Let me put a little bit of hot glue on here. I like this. I definitely want to do some touch-ups on the edges of my pine cones. Hi, Susan. How are you, my friend? Let's get a little bit of, see if we can get some gold splatters on here. You know I like my gold. And I love this gold paint. I'm always talking to y'all about this metallic gold from Folk Art. It is amazing. I love it. Let's get a fan brush. Doesn't look like that's gonna be giving me much. Just want some gold splatters on here, just because Christmas, you gotta have some gold. Okay, I like that. I can live with that. Let's see if we brush a little bit onto our pine cones a little bit more, since we have some on our brush anyway. Now hopefully that one is steady enough that I can hold this up. Let me just get a little bit of heat on here. Thank you for those cards. I love this, guys. It is not coming across on camera as beautiful as it is in person. Oh my goodness. And those gold splatters definitely were the ticket. They really, really look so nice off this natural wood, even though we did do a light dry brush on it. This is beautiful. This is a piece that definitely I could see myself using for many Christmases in my home, and not just this one. This is really, really nice, especially the way those splatters are on that end. I really love the way they came out over here. That's the one thing about splatters, you really can't control it. Okay, Kim, have a great night. Thank you so much. You really can't control the splatters. You know, it's kind of like one of those, you get what you get. Don't throw a fit, as my kids used to say. But this, I really love the way they came out on this end, because they seem to be a little bit more finer than in some spots over here. But overall, I love it. Let me see if I can give you guys a better look-see at what we have. So there you see our pine cones there. I think this is gonna look really nice on my table with my vase with the fresh Christmas greens in them. It's gonna be awesome, awesome, awesome. So really quickly, before I let you go, let me just share with you. I said I'm definitely looking for at least 5 people for now, for sure, who are willing to do who want to do a card exchange with me. If you're a crafter and you want to make a card, that would be beautiful. I am making some cards. We are going in a more traditional route for Christmas this year, so I want to do some, you know, of the traditional things, which is mailing some real Christmas cards to some people. And I thought it'd be a great way for me to kind of exchange some cards with some of my followers. So let me show you what I've been working on. I have a couple, I think I've done 4 so far, and it's been about a week. But that's one of them. And they are absolutely gorgeous. They have all this like 3D detail, and it has my little signature on the back, and we have sentiments inside. So definitely, if you're interested in being a card exchange buddy with me, drop something in the comments. Some of you, I will be reaching out, asking you for your addresses, because I have some special followers that I definitely want to send a card to. Look at this one. Look at all this gorgeous paper. It has all this gilded writing on it, and those 3D appliques in the front. And then I'm gonna put a nice little note in the inside of that. So that's the second one. Here's the third one that I've done. And each one is different. No two will be the same. I love this. I love all those elements and how everything is 3D and just kind of popping off the page. So whoever gets them, I think you will be pleasantly surprised. Now this one is probably one of my favorites. Look at that bow. That is gorgeous. I love it. So I've been having some fun doing these. So definitely if you're interested in a card exchange with me, like I said, I'm looking for definitely 5 followers now. There's a couple of you that I will be reaching out independently to, that I want to send some cards to, just as a way of being able to say thank you. Thank you for hanging out with me and spending time with me on my lives. And if I get around to it and I do more, then I'll definitely be willing to send out more. So make sure you try and come back with me and hang out with me in this Christmas series, because like I said, we've switched our colors now. We've gone from purple to now we're with the traditional tartan this year, and I'm excited about it. It's gonna definitely be something that is gonna be different for me. Magnolia has this amazing tartan pattern stencil that I'm looking forward to being able to use that and bringing some of that into my Christmas makes this year. And definitely I want to share with you, like I said, my next, I love this Noel stencil we used tonight. I'm going to be doing a door hanger with that same stencil in different colors. So definitely stay tuned and keep hanging out with me and watch for that. And last but not least, I want to share with you guys, this is my stencil that is now on sale at Magnolia. This was my idea, my suggestion, and as one of the creators, I was picked to share this idea, and Magnolia created this stencil. I will definitely be doing that, and I'll be inviting some of you. That's probably going to be just a private group. I really want to do something on Zoom so I can actually see people and talk to them. So I'll probably be inviting you to come pop in and watch me create with this stencil. This one is very near and dear to me because this was my idea, and to see it come into fruition, I'm just like so giddy over it. How long would we have to make them? I'm going to be mailing out my cards on the 15th of December, so I would say definitely up until then. And again, if you're not a creator and you want to be in the card exchange, just let me know. I'm not saying you have to make them, but it'd be nice for those of us who are crafters. Let's make them and share and have a card exchange. I think that would be a great idea. So again, thank you everybody for joining me. And I'm going to try and be back on tomorrow. I have some errands to run during the day, but I'll definitely drop something on the page. It'll probably be sometime in the afternoon towards the evening. I hope you come back and watch what else we create for Christmas. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless you.